You found the skeleton. How would you tell people that was you personally? How would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hey there YouTube, the Dapper Dinosaur here. This is going to be a bit harsher than my usual. You've been warned. Also, YouTube, I know you're listening, and I know you want to give me a community guidelines strike and take away my channel for a week. This is a pro-mask video. I'm countering the medical misinformation. Yeah, I've already gotten a community guidelines warning just working on this video, so fun times. Anyway, before we get too far into it, if you like this video, make sure to hit like and leave a comment. Also, if you're not subscribed, please do so if you enjoy this video. Today, I wanted to take a quick look at how Katie Wells was doing. You might remember him from the earlier videos in which he either showed himself to be a liar or illiterate. And of course, the only reason I ever pay attention to this nobody is that occasionally he shows up in the comments of mine or other videos to make an ass of himself. Last time it was by trying to debate in the comments and then just being a homophobe. And it wasn't even like the topic was sexuality. This time, though, he dropped in to reply to a comment I made on Cindy Lincoln's channel. He had to inform me that the speaker in the video was, quote, an unsaved Catholic. Of course, the person in question was actually an Eastern Orthodox priest, which I pointed out. In reply, I was told that Catholicism and Orthodoxy are the same thing, because the full official name of the Eastern Orthodox Church is the Orthodox Catholic Church. Seriously, what is it with these morons and argument from etymology? Anyway, I told him, no, they aren't the same. Just ask them. And then I hopped over to his channel. Now, most of his stuff is mediocre music videos, but occasionally we get some choice inanity. This time, he's going on about masks, and of course, it starts out with an explanation that he's in bed and his natural hair color is coming in, as if anyone could possibly give a crap. Let's join him after he actually starts talking about masks.
But I wanted to talk to you today about my position on the mask.
I'm sure that your position is informed by rigorous research and consultation with scientists and medical professionals, and not simply you ignoring what they tell you because you think a simple piece of protective clothing is actually a satanic plot to make you breathe through cloth because Jesus can't find you if he can't smell your breath or something.
You've seen my other videos, and you know that I won't wear a mask.
I haven't seen any of your videos since the ones I responded to, but I'm not exactly shocked. Why would you have the basic human decency to protect those around you? That's apparently something only the libs do, right? Better spread a virus to own the libs.
And I got to ask ambulance drivers last night. I got to ask emergency room doctors and nurses last night to explain to me the necessity of wearing a mask to prevent yourself from transmitting a virus that you don't have. And it was deer in the headlights, bud. I'm telling you. None of them had it. Everybody just kind of clammed up, and they don't want to talk about it because they know that they're completely bamboozling the public.
Except, as we'll see, they did talk to you about it. And you're going to tell us that, Katie. You're just a liar.
I am putting my life on the line for my convictions, and I'm not saying that lightly.
I honestly couldn't give a shit if you take your own garbage life in your own hands for your delusions. Honestly, I couldn't care less, Katie. What I do in fact care about is you taking risks with other people's lives. If you wearing a mask helped you, then I would honestly at this point hope you didn't wear one. Because as we're about to see, you're an arrogant asshole who's willing to put a small crowd of people in danger because you think a bit of cloth constitutes tyranny.
Why was I in the hospital last night? Well,
who wants to bet the reason is dumb and something that probably could have been prevented with essentially no effort? Put your guesses as to why Katie was in the hospital down in the comments. If you're right, I'll award you 27 internets.
I'm a heart patient. I've been taking medication for my heart, and I had a stroke in 2012. And I had open heart surgery in 2014. I had a defibrillator implanted in 2015, early 2015.
You know, interestingly enough, one of the leading causes of death related to COVID-19 is cardiac problems. This man should be taking this pandemic extremely seriously. Now, to be fair, wearing a mask isn't going to lower his risk of getting it, but you think the risk that he's at, combined with this basic thing most humans have called empathy, might induce him to help lower the risk to his community as a whole.
And it has fired off 3 times in my life now. First time it fired off, I was dehydrated and I was kind of off my medication. And quite frankly, I was in flagrante with my wife, and it went off right in the middle of that. So
we know that he is too stupid to even take his heart medication, and then he'll just go bang his wife with his bad heart, unmedicated, and quelle surprise! His heart goes into arrest. This guy sure is taking care of himself.
that was kind of frightening and shocking. That was like in June of 2019.
I like the pun.
And then it went off again in December of 2019 after I was very stressed out about our breakup of our marriage. And
You think she left because he's a moron who endangers the lives of others, or because she wanted a husband who could have sex with her without his heart giving out?
so I've had a good year, despite the coronavirus scamdemic keeping everybody paranoid.
Okay, so let's say that COVID-19 is fake. When you take one of those home test kits you can buy at the pharmacy, why do some people test positive and others negative? And why do the ones who test positive tend to go on to have symptoms like fever, trouble breathing, pneumonia, sore throat, and trouble with the sense of smell? Because since that's happening, it sounds like we're dealing with a real identifiable and diagnosable disease. Also, hundreds of thousands of people in your country alone have died above the normal death rate in the United States. Why did they die? Did 2020 and 2021 just decide to be super deadly for no reason at all?
But as you know, I haven't worn a mask at all. I haven't put one on for even 5 seconds. Because nobody can explain to me the rationale for... first of all, they don't prevent you from contracting the coronavirus if you should encounter it, because they're not tight enough to block the virus from entering into your airways.
More or less, yes. If water droplets with entrained virus are in the air, you'll probably suck them in through the sides of the mask. You need special medical masks to effectively protect yourself from the virus.
So the public was told that you wear a mask to keep from spreading it to other people. Well,
Yes, you see, in this case, when you exhale, water droplets you breathe out with entrained virus will either have to exit from the sides of the mask or hit the mask itself and stick there. Since most masks are dense enough that water droplets can't get past the fabric. Now, if they escape through the side, they can still cause an infection, but they won't spread as far since they'll have a lower velocity than if they were breathed out unobstructed. Rather than going meters away, they'll just hang out in the area until they settle out of the area, and eventually die. By the way, because the virus can persist on surfaces after that, that's why you should frequently be washing your hands, because even if you didn't breathe the virus in, it might be on your hand.
if you don't have it, what are you blocking?
Nothing. But how do you know you don't have it?
It's optics. It's just to make people feel safe. They have the illusion of, I'm doing this to protect you. Well, why? You don't have anything to give me.
I don't know if anyone out there has the virus, and neither do you, Katie. And if it's just optics, then why do jurisdictions with mask mandates have lower rates of COVID-19 transmission? Is it just a coincidence? Is it the big scary government lying to you?
Take off the mask.
I do, when I'm in a situation where I can't wear it, or where I'm unlikely to spread the virus in the event I'm unwittingly infected, such as at home, where anyone I live with is going to get it from me anyway, mask or no mask.
Well, this presents a problem because in order to get my medication refills, I have to see my doctor fairly regularly, and I hadn't seen my cardiologist for quite some time. Probably since before the corona thing. And so my prescription for 2 of my pills,
Which by your own admission, you're too stupid to take regularly anyway.
he just wouldn't refill until I come see him.
Imagine that, a doctor wanting to examine a patient before prescribing medication. What is this world coming to?
Let alone I've been taking this one pill for over 8 years, almost 9 years now. I called him on the phone. I spoke to my actual cardiologist on the phone. He says, put on a mask and come in. I said, no, sir, I'm not putting on a mask. We're going to have to figure out some other way to do this.
So it wasn't that you were presented with a problem, it's that you created a problem by throwing a temper tantrum about being properly dressed. Your problem is exactly as much of a problem as a 2-year-old screaming because he doesn't want to wear the shirt his mom picked out for him to go to some event. Aw, poor baby is slightly inconvenienced by a small piece of cloth. Do we need to get you a binky, or can you suck it up like an adult? We all know the real answer. You're a tiny special snowflake who will melt if your fifis get hurt by being asked to help keep your doctor and his staff safe.
No option was offered to me to teleconference or meet with him some video way or something like that.
Good. Your doctor wants to be able to examine you. That's what doctors are supposed to do. A remote visit should only be an option when absolutely necessary, and you not wanting to get dressed isn't a good reason.
So it was just put on a mask and come in. And I made a video back then, and I said, well, here it goes. I'm putting my life on the line to stand behind my convictions. You know, you can have convictions all day long and talk about give me liberty or give me death and all that and freedom. But until you actually exercise it, you're just talking. Well, I have exercised it.
You throw your toys out of the crib while screaming that a bit of cloth over your mouth and nose is a bridge too far to keep yourself and others healthy. It's hard for me to think of anything more pathetic, moronic, or immoral than Katie's take on masks. Katie will not only risk his own health, but yours too, because he doesn't like masks. And why doesn't he like them? Well, he doesn't say. But given his other videos, I'm going to guess it has something to do with a former U.S. president.
I did a few things yesterday, and I went down to the square here in McKinney, Texas, to busk.
So now you're out in the town square, putting others at risk, and let's place bets on whether Mr. Wells here is vaccinated. My money is on no.
And that's playing some music for those of you who are not familiar with the term busking. Set up my gear. I got a little PA system, and I set up my amp, set up my mic, and got ready to play in front of one of my favorite places to play in front of, the Celt in McKinney. And just as I was kind of warming up my vocals, humming along, just strumming some chords.
I'm just going to put it out there that because singing requires you to be louder than normal speech, and it is protracted, it is going to cause you to spread more of any virus you might have. And remember, there's no way for Katie to know for sure if he has the virus, short of basically constant testing. Which, since he apparently thinks the virus is fake in the first place, I can all but guarantee he's not doing. So he's now putting others at even greater risk.
I started to feel the dizziness that precedes palpitations, but this got to be a little bit heavier, and I could feel coming on the symptoms that precede a shock from my defibrillator.
You probably should have gotten your meds instead of acting like a baby.
And as I went to the park bench sitting there to try to sit down and just kind of cool out and breathe and maybe stem this off, boom. I got hit with a very, very strong therapy jolt from my ICD implanted cardio defibrillator. And
so this is the 4th time it's gone off, and at least the 2nd time without meds. It seems to me like maybe Katie should take his meds. And let's remember, the only reason he doesn't have them at this point is because he doesn't want them. He wants to put his doctor at risk more than he wants to protect his own life. Katie would rather die than keep you safe. This has got to be the height of antisocial behavior. Katie is an active drain on humanity.
So I grabbed my phone and I tried to 911. And as I was trying to dial 911 the first time, I got shocked again.
I'm going to say that counts as number 5. 3 at least without meds. Seems like we have a pattern.
and my phone tumbled out of my hand onto the sidewalk. I've got a guitar strapped around me. I'm kind of half sitting, half leaning on a park bench there on the square. There's people on the square and on the crosswalks across from me, and I could see them. And I called. I said, "Somebody help me! Help me! Call 911." And a couple people came over, and one of them was actually a cardiac nurse, which was
Wow, it's convenient you were in an area where people are actually concerned about the well-being of their fellow man. Maybe you could take a page out of their book.
great. And thank you, Father.
Yeah, thank you, God, for not making everyone as selfish as Katie, because then he'd be dead.
And they helped me call 911 and check my pulse. Nick, the manager of the Celt, came down and brought me water. He got his guys to get my gear and pack it all up and put it in my car for me so it'd be all safe and secure. And thank you, Nick. Thank you for doing that. I'm going to make you a lasagna for that.
In case Nick is watching, I would not eat that lasagna. Katie's stance on masks doesn't bode well for his take on food safety.
And off to the hospital I went.
Yep, off to the hospital, and of course, as predicted, for a stupid reason you could have prevented by just acting like an adult.
Because I've been off my medication. Because I haven't been able to see the doctor.
No, you were not prevented from seeing the doctor. You refused to see the doctor. You are not the victim here. No one has done wrong by you in this story.
In the ambulance, the technicians talking to me, one of them knew my anti-mask position, and so he takes a brand new mask in a plastic cellophane and kind of tossed it on my lap. He said, "Here, I've got to offer you this legally," but I said, "Thanks, I won't be wearing it."
Katie should be glad I'm not in charge of the laws there, because I would make masks mandatory for anyone in a hospital or ambulance, and refusing to wear one would be grounds for refusing treatment. The lives of paramedics, nurses, and doctors aren't worth risking to soothe one crazy man-child's ego.
They wheeled me into the emergency room, and lo and behold, these hospitals overflowing with patients. It was pretty dead in there. In fact, it was the quickest I'd ever been received in the emergency room. They put me right into a room there, a little ER bay.
That's the same argument as saying, well, it's cold today where I live, so I guess global warming is nonsense. You getting into an emergency room quickly says nothing about the availability of long-term beds in hospitals around the state, country, or globe. Do you think Katie is the kind of guy who thinks that if it's raining at his house, it's raining everywhere? Seems like it to me.
Got me all hooked up to the monitors and everything like that, chest x-ray and yada, yada, yada. Started an IV. All the things that I point out in my other things where they show a coronavirus patient in the hospital and they don't have any IV, nothing hooked up, vitals monitors with big question marks on them, like they're not receiving any data.
Weird, because when I look for pictures of coronavirus patients, they're hooked up to IVs, oxygen masks, intubators, monitors, etc. It's almost like Katie is cherry-picking the evidence that agrees with him while ignoring the mountains that disagree with him. Well, I mean, he's a young Earth creationist, so that's par for the course.
So this is all fed into my skepticism of the realities of the coronavirus scamdemic.
So his quote-unquote skepticism arises from his own apparent inability to conduct anything even approaching good research? That makes sense.
And a nurse, after she draws some blood, she comes in and she takes a mask and starts to put the loop on my ear.
Good for her.
Starts to I put my hand up and blocked it. I said, "No, I'm not. I don't wear a mask." She goes,
How to say I'm an immature asshole who doesn't care about you without actually saying it.
"Okay, well, I'm just supposed to offer you one, so you were trying to put it on my face, is what you were trying to do." And so then I got to talk to the nurse and a couple of different nurses, and Dr. Patel came in from the emergency room there at Baylor in McKinney. And he and I discussed the mask thing, and I said, can you, as a physician, tell me why I need to wear a mask to keep from transmitting something that I don't have?
Now, remember earlier, Katie said that all the nurses and the doctor clammed up and didn't say anything. So if he reports anything besides that, he's a liar.
And he couldn't give me an answer. And as usual, he went for the fallback. Well, there's asymptomatic presence. Give me a break.
So he did answer, and gave you the correct answer. And your only comeback is personal incredulity.
We've been practically locked up in our homes for almost a year.
Says the man who got to the hospital from the town square where he was preparing to perform music.
It was 10, 11 months or whatever it's been so far. I'm not a carrier. I'm not an asymptomatic carrier. If I am, I'm like a vector.
Yeah, exactly. You might be a vector, and unless you're testing yourself frequently, you can't know if in fact you are an asymptomatic carrier.
Would carry that for nearly a year without giving it to anybody.
You dense motherfucker. It's not that you have to have been carrying it all year, it's that you could have contracted it at any point you went out, and might now be an asymptomatic carrier. Literally no one is telling you that you probably have been spreading the virus for a year straight.
Nobody I've encountered has contracted coronavirus.
How in the world could you possibly know that? Just go into the grocery store, you encounter dozens of people you'll probably never see again and whose names you don't know. You could have infected dozens of people in just a week and you would never know. Because for you, unless you see it directly, you didn't cause it. It's not your fault. You have no need to mitigate the risks to strangers. You only care about yourself, and perhaps secondarily, people you might personally know. Now, don't get me wrong, we all care about people we know more than random strangers, but most of us aren't completely indifferent or actively hostile to random strangers. Katie apparently is.
Now, in another video, I'm going to talk about the people in my life who have expressed to me encounters with coronavirus and what I think of those. But I'm not going to do that in this one because I see we're already at 12 minutes and I want to just talk about my experience yesterday.
Okay, so to summarize that, Katie says that no one he knows has had the coronavirus, but people he knows have told him that they did. He just doesn't believe them, apparently. So he's wrong that no one he knows has had it. He just apparently thinks his friends are liars? This sounds like Flat Earth Fokker talking about how COVID-19 is a hoax while he's literally dying of it in his car. There's another man who brought his suffering on himself by being an idiot. And no, I will not refrain from speaking ill of the dead when they actively endangered others.
But nobody in the medical staff there forced the mask on me.
More's the pity.
And nobody could give me a straight up answer as to why I needed to wear a mask.
Well, except Dr. Patel could and did by your own admission.
So until I get that from a certified medical professional, I'm not wearing one.
You already did, you colossal ignoramus.
Okay. Just simple fact. And
it's amazing to me how he can call something that is actually the opposite of the truth a simple fact.
I risked my life, literally, to do this. Well, Dr. Patel gave me a fresh prescription for the pills that I'm missing.
That's nice of him.
But I'm going to encounter this in about 3 months if we come down to, or whenever my next pill, I take several a day, runs out and I can't get it refilled.
No, it's not that you can't get it refilled. It's that you won't. No one is asking you to sacrifice your firstborn to Molech. They're asking you to kindly respect the safety of others.
We're going to come to this situation again. So I want you to ask yourself, are you willing to stand up and have the courage of your convictions? Or are you just going to go along with the crowd and be led around by the nose?
Fun fact, the crowd isn't wrong simply for being a crowd. So I will stand by my conviction that compassion in the name of public health at the cost of an incredibly minor inconvenience is a worthy and virtuous thing to do. And Katie, you know that the word virtue comes from the Latin word virtus, meaning manliness? So why don't you grow up, be a man, and put on a damn mask?
That's what's happening in America. I see all these people wearing masks outside. They've become fashion statements.
Weird, right? When people start wearing an item, they start to use that as an item to express their personality. That's why I own a mask with a Phytosaur skeleton on it. It's also why I wear Star Trek, Godzilla, and Power Ranger shirts. I like to celebrate the things I like in the unobtrusive way of wearing shirts. Other people want to express themselves through their masks. This is completely normal human behavior.
People wearing designer masks and this and that and the other. And I'm like, this is not the world we want to live in.
Pearl clutch much there, Katie?
Somebody has decided that this needs to be a dystopian society.
Wow. I think we have quite a ways to go between please wear a mask for the health of others to the world of 1984. And let's remember, no one actually made Katie wear a mask. Apparently, his idea of dystopia is people suggesting you do something to help others stay safe, and at worst, opting not to take your business if you do not. Basically, this is about as dystopian as a sign that reads no shirt, no shoes, no service.
So it matches all the movies in Hollywood.
Yeah, remember in the Hunger Games when the Capitol asked all the districts to politely please wear masks, but didn't really make them? Oh no, that's not how it goes. Instead, they made children fight to the death. Katie, wake me up when your kids are put into a battle royale death match.
Crazy. Craziness. Healthy people walking around. I saw a woman the other night. I was playing music in a little gastropub here in McKinney. We have a Tuesday night jam there. A lot of my music videos you'll see are recorded there.
This is off topic, but can someone please explain to me the real difference between a restaurant with a bar and a gastropub? These seem like the same thing.
And a woman was sitting at the table. You know, they want you to wear a mask when you walk in, but everybody takes them off. And the logic and insanity of, I'm going to wear this mask from the door to the table, but once I get to the table, it's cool, I can take it off.
Yep, there's a reason I think that you should be required to be vaccinated to eat in a public building. I waited until I was to do so, and yeah, I went over a year just never setting foot in a bar or restaurant until my friend visited after we were both vaccinated, as was her cousin who visited too. Frankly, if you're not vaccinated, I wouldn't suggest going to any place like that. But this isn't medical advice. If you need medical advice, ask a doctor, and then, actually follow the advice, unlike Katie.
That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's just controlling your behavior.
I'll grant that it makes less sense than most masking, but it's still going to reduce the likelihood of spreading the virus. Because if you're shedding the virus as you walk around, you're going to spread it over a wider area while transiting than while sitting still.
And a woman was sitting at a table across from her husband. Her husband had no mask on.
He should have, but as we've seen in this video, some people can't be bothered to do the right thing.
And she was taking the mask, and she'd take it off her ear, take a drink of her beer, and put it back up here between sips of beer.
Good for her. That's the safest option if you're in a bar or a restaurant. Now, to be fair, I'm not doing that on the rare occasion I'm in such a place. But I at least recognize that I'd be keeping people marginally safer if I did. Seems like she's doing a superlative job at the whole being a decent human. Whereas I'm doing a more middling job, and then we have Katie here, who might as well be a sentient sack of...
I was like, that's crazy. There's absolutely... You've just been conditioned to conform.
Because no one has reasons to wear masks besides that everyone else is doing it. Oh wait, Katie's insane enough to actually think that's the case. Because, he actually ignores science and medical advice in favor of his own childishness.
Don't let them condition you. Don't let them change the world around you without your consent.
I'm not. They have my consent on masks because I'm neither an asshole nor an intellectually blinkered moron.
Stand up for what you believe in.
I already do.
Take off the mask.
No.
They can't make you wear it.
Not yet, but here's hoping. Also, businesses can make you wear it if you want to be allowed in and serviced.
And if they don't want your business without a mask, guess what? They don't get your money. Take it to somebody else.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Have a good day.
Okay, well, that's that. Sorry if this was a bit more abrasive than I usually am, but I just got done airing my Cindy Lincoln series at the time of working on this video, and I decided that I needed to take a change of pace. So, rather than looking at a video from someone I like, I'd go for someone whom I consider a waste of oxygen. Again, YouTube, this is a pro-mask video. Try not to take my channel away for at least a week. Again, please hit like if you enjoyed this video. If you didn't like it, hit dislike and tell me what's wrong with it. Either way, please hit the subscribe button below this video and use the bell icon to turn on all notifications so you're always notified when there's new Dapper Dino content. I'm the Dapper Dinosaur. I just want to take a moment to thank my channel members and my patrons on Patreon. They really help keep the lights on here, and I want to thank those pledging $20 or above, especially Bob Knob, Bent Hovend, Ian Chen, Chris Love, Sphincter of Doom, The Venerable Bede, and Patrick Dennis. Without the support of those whose names you see on screen right now, the channel simply wouldn't exist as it does now, and I certainly wouldn't be able to do 2 to 3 videos a week for over a year and a half now. If you would like to help support and make it so that this channel is something that can keep going, there is a link to join below the video, as well as a link to the Patreon in the channel description. If pledging money isn't right for you, please just hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and share my videos. That really helps my channel grow.